Hi, this is Dr. Kelley LeBlanc on Hilton Head Island. I'm a chiropractor, and today I'm going to be talking about mind-body emotional release. So that's EMBER, M-B-E-R. It's not a therapy. It doesn't involve talking. The patient doesn't have to share anything that they don't want to share. It's not necessary to share anything at all. It's not necessarily emotional at a conscious level. It's really talking to the body, talking to the subconscious directly. And it's using several factors to stimulate neurological patterns that weaken the subconscious neurological patterns. So for instance, what it might look like is like, okay, have the patient close your eyes, look down and to the left, think of the number 2 and the word bliss at the same time. So those factors, look down and to the left, think of a number, the word bliss, those are all factors that the practitioner can test for. You choose those that's specific to the subconscious neurological pattern that you're trying to loosen, to erase or loosen. So that's 3 factors. So let's add some. So you look down to the left, think of the number 3 and the word bliss at the same time. You're stimulating your right brain, left brain at the same time. And then the doctor is going to touch 2 points, acupressure points, on meridian points. So they're meridian points, acupressure meridian points. So you have touch, okay, and they're on meridian points. So those are energy points. The body, the doctor uses their energy. All of a sudden, the energy is like inside the patient's energy field. Okay, so the patient is like, look down to the left, think of the number 3, think of the word bliss at the same time. So that's right brain, left brain stimulation, because a number is more on the left brain, the word is more on the right. You're looking down, which represents past. The doctor is pressing on neurological points, pressing, so that you get that touch stimulation, and you have the acupressure points at the same time. And then take a deep breath in. That's autonomic stimulation. So autonomic system is the fight or flight versus feed and breathe. So you're going to take a deep breath in. So, and then you hold it, which is stimulating the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. That's the autonomic nervous system. So you're stimulating, so look down and to the left. That's motor, and it's also addressing the subconscious. So think of a number, that's left brain. Think of a word, that's right brain. The patient is being touched by the practitioner on a meridian point, so that's kind of double touch. And you're stimulating the autonomic nervous system by taking a deep breath in and holding it. So that's 5 stimulations. So how this differs from, say, EFT, which is tapping. So, okay, that's motor, and you're stimulating touch, and you're stimulating the acupressure points. So that's 3. EMDR is rapid eye movement therapy, so that's motor, and right brain, left brain stimulation, that's 2. So the idea behind this is you stimulate more neurological patterns, and that stimulate more neurological inputs, and that helps to weaken the subconscious neurological pathway. So the body just can't hold that all in the brain at once. As you're thinking about that neurological pattern, you're thinking about all of these other things at the same time, and it just weakens that neurological pattern. It gets overlaid. So you're also thinking about a positive word at the same time. So the first word that you come up with that you don't think about is something that's associated with that neurological pattern at some level. So this means something to your subconscious. So you come up with, and there's a sheet that was developed by T.J. Morter. This is a chiropractor that developed the technique, Bio-energetic Synchronization Technique. And the technique that I'm talking about uses a lot of what Dr. Morter used in terms of let's stimulate several things, not just 2 or 3. Let's stimulate 5 things instead of 4. And I think over time I'll probably add things in terms of stimulating the limbic system by using essential oils with the smell process. So the negative word that's associated at some level might be, okay, and I'll talk in a minute about how we come up with these factors. So the negative word that's associated with that trauma at some level might be greed. Okay, so at some level, this neurological pattern is associated with greed. Okay, so you're not going to think about greed. okay, with that, now let's come up with a positive word that's associated with that at some level, and it turned out to be bliss, which I already gave you. So first, as the doctor is doing the analysis, it's bringing to mind that negative word that at some level is associated with that. And then all of a sudden, at a subconscious level, your body is running that neurological pattern in kind of a weak way, not to the level that it would rise to the conscious level. So like, okay, the subconscious is kind of like, okay, that reminds me of this, and all of a sudden it's running in the background like a computer, right? And then we're going to use those factors. Okay, look down and to the left. Think of the number 3. Think of the word bliss, which all of a sudden overlays that term greed, and the subconscious like, oh, that makes it feel safe to deal with. So it's kind of a little neurological trick that you're playing. The doctor is touching acupressure points, and you're taking a deep breath in, stimulating the autonomic nervous system. So after that's done, with another thing that the doctor is feeling is for pulsations. So this is not coordinated with the pulsation of your heart. So it's actually 2 different pulses. If you felt the pulse, it would be different than what the doctor is feeling here. So these pulsations are used in craniosacral therapy as well. So you hold those points, and while the patient is stimulating all those other neurological pathways until the pulse synchronizes. So this was another idea of MT mortar, but it also was developed by craniosacral therapists, and it was also used by Dr. Logan, who is another chiropractor. So you can see, like, I'm pulling from a lot of different areas here. So I would not say that I've invented this at all. I've experienced a lot of these techniques either as a patient or a practitioner studying them myself. So with the patient, would go through round and round. Is like after you clear one subconscious neurological pattern, it's like, okay, let's go on to the next one. Clear, 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 until you get to the point where you're asking the body, is it done? And it will say done. So the yes-no question might be, is like, how do you come up with that? So I think that the best analogy is applied kinesiology, which you might be familiar with. So applied kinesiologists use muscle strength, or tone, basically. Tone is the baseline tension in your muscles. It's a subconscious thing. It's an unconscious thing, not a subconscious thing. That your body has a certain level of tone. Like if you were too flaccid, that would be low tone. If you were too tense, that would be very high tone. So applied kinesiologists use muscle strength as tone. It's like, okay, if someone blows out, that would be, it would be overwhelmed, okay? So chiropractors generally use leg length as a neurological indicator of tone. I feel that it's a more objective measure of tone. So when you are dealing with tone, you can ask the body yes/no questions. So what that looks like is the patient is laying on the table, and the doctor is looking at the leg length. It's like, okay, so, and I would be asking, let's say for the number that we came up with, we came up with 3 as the example. So the doctor is going to be asking, is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? And all of a sudden the leg length would go off. And then, is it 4? Is it 5? Is it 6? Is it 7? Is it 8? Is it 9? So clearly it's 3. So, and with some patients it's very clear. It's like, dang, 2 inches. Is it a little more subtle? With some patients it might be more subtle. With some patients it'd be more definite, depending on their reflexes, how intact their reflexes are. That's a reflex. It's a tonal reflex. So it's a little different than the reflexes that you have with your knee or your elbow. So it's a tonal reflex. So the doctor can ask yes/no questions of the body. So the doctor can ask yes/no questions out loud or yes/no questions in their mind. So how is that possible? Because the doctor is intuitively connecting with the patient. So if the doctor is close enough to read your leg length, they're inside of your energy field. So they also have their hands on your feet. So the doctor is connected to the patient, and the subconscious can understand the doctor's, thoughts. So this is a subconscious. At some level, we all are one. So this is kind of like an extension of that. So the factors that you come up with, which number is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so got that 3. Okay, is it A, B, C, D, E, F, G? So this is like on the list of negative or positive emotions. This is a sheet that Dr. Mortar came up with. So of the negative emotions, is it A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Okay, it's in the G section. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Okay, it's G, 9. And that's associated with greed. Okay, I don't remember if that's the specific one. I don't have this table memorized, and I couldn't if I wanted to. So, okay, so we got the emotional. So, and the doctor is going to either speak that out loud or not speak it out loud. Doesn't matter. At some level, the patient knows what it is. Okay, let's verify it. Is it greed? Okay, so that verifies it. Okay, maybe you thought, well, maybe it's G8 instead of 9. Is it unfaithful? No. Is it greed? Yes. The body basically verifies that you're on the right track. I want to skip back to the beginning, because the first question that I would ask is, are we allowed to do this with the patient today? And if no, it's no. If it's yes, it's like, yes, you're allowed to do that with the patient today. After you ask all these questions, so is it which number? Are the eyes going to be open or closed? Are they going to be to the left or to the right? Are they going to be up or down? So these factors are all yes, no questions. And all those directions symbolize something to your subconscious as well. If you're looking up and to the right, it's like, I think I'm going to be traveling to Alaska on the 31st. So that's like in the future. And so I'm not going to go into the details of which eye movement means something. So the other factors are, which pressure points are you going to use? These are the factors that the doctor is thinking about. So after you go through several iterations of the questions that you're asking, you might come to a point where it's like, okay, I've gone through, is it a chief complaint? Is it emotional? Is it physical? Is it a recurrent thought? Is it in the endocrine system? Is it this belief that I'm not worthy? So those are all questions that Dr. M.T. Mortar came up with, the BEST technique, Bio-energetic Synchronization Technique. I have also gone into the chakras. So the 7 chakras are the root chakra, the sacral chakra, on up to the crown chakra. And you may or may not know what chakras are, but they're the energy centers of the energetic body. They actually kind of like are the interfaces between your physical body and your energetic body. And you can research chakra on the web, and you can learn more about that. So because they're energy centers, they tend to be associated with different emotions, or different factors of your life. So, for example, the throat chakra has to do with like speaking your truth. The heart chakra has to do with love and your connection with other human beings. So you get the idea. So some of these they've become part of our language because it's just kind of like the truth of what we are. So I have expanded Ember to include the chakras. So the 7 chakras are the ones that I've been most familiar with as a yoga practitioner. Are the 7 chakras, which go from the root chakra, which is below your tailbone, to the crown chakra, which is just above your head. But what I've been led to, because I've been led to several things during the process of developing this Ember, which as I've said, have pulled from a lot of different sources, so it's not an invention of mine. But I've been led to work on the 12 chakras, which start from the ground chakra, which has to do with, like, the ground chakra for you would be, if you're standing on the ground chakra, the earth chakra would be in the ground. And then there are several chakras that are above your head, so the crown chakra would be here, and then there's several layers above that have to do with your connection to the divine. So when I practice with the chakras, basically I'm asking, it's like, is it the root chakra? Okay, root chakra, yes. Okay, let's work on the root chakra. Okay, then after I say let's work on the root chakra, it's down to negative again. It's like, and then we're going through the factors again, just like I talked about before. Okay, we're working on the root chakra. Hold all those eyes to the left, or whichever position. Think of the number in the word. You're stimulating acupressure points. You're taking a deep breath in, and then afterwards you test it again. Is it the root chakra? No. So I know that I've cleared it. If the second time around it's a no, it's like, okay, let's say the sacral chakra. No. Is it the solar plexus? Yes. Okay, now we're working on the solar plexus. Go through the same round again with different factors. The factors for the solar plexus. The solar plexus is just here below your rib cage, and it has to do with your place in the world, your interaction, your almost public interaction. So we'll go through that with the round of the chakras, and then, at some point, either the practitioner can go through all of them, and it might be no, 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 and then you get to, am I done? And it's like, done. So, and then we're done for the day. And the patient might go through several days of this. It might not necessarily be several days in a row, although it could be. So there is homework to do with it, and it has to do with allowing whatever the subconscious is loosening to come up. So I'll tell you my experience of this. So I had something that, I thought about, and every time I thought about it, I'm like, nope, can't go there. And after I worked with Dr. John O'Hay, who introduced me to the BEST technique, I said, I think I can look at this now. So it's like, instead of being, can't even look at it, now it's like, I think I can look at this. So I think I'm gonna go into this. I'm gonna dive into this and see if I can feel it to heal it, right? So I'll tell you exactly what I did with this. So I got into the bathtub, which, I know from spiritual practice is a good conduit for releasing into the earth. So the water is a way to kind of release things into Mother Earth. So I got into a bathtub, and I just allowed myself to go there. And I really called on Mother Earth to just support me in going there. And I had a big cry, I'll tell you that. So it was a big cry, and I bravely, I must say, bravely went into it deeper and deeper and deeper. I could have stopped at any time. I was like, okay, that's enough for today. I'm going to handle the rest later. And I could very well see that would be effective, to handle it a little piece at a time. I just decided to go as far as I could with it. And I'll tell you, that thing that I used to push away is no longer a factor. It's like, it's not an issue anymore. So that was my experience of it. I've had a lot of work. I've worked on myself for, all the time that I've been an adult. I have a history of anxiety, depression, and I realized a few years ago that my anxiety has fueled my spiritual growth, because I was always looking for, how do I get rid of this? How do I feel more comfortable? So at various times I've been to therapists. I've been to therapy 3 times. The first was very ineffective, and the second was very effective, and the third was marriage counseling, which, thank you, Dr. Charlie Frangos, was very effective, and we are doing very well. Charlie Frangos of Hilton Head. So I am experienced in just working on myself from a therapy perspective, working on myself from a meditation perspective. I've studied Zen meditation and yoga meditation and lots of other types of meditation. I've been very religious at times, in terms of, I was a Catholic growing up, and then I was Jehovah's Witness when I was a teenager, and studied the Bible, and I do consider myself a Christian in that I still believe in the teachings of Christ. I've also studied the teachings of Buddhism, and I feel as though that's maybe closest to what I believe, in terms of, I do believe that at some level we are one with the divine. And Buddhism is mysticism, which is I believe that we have a direct connection with the divine. So all of that, and I've also studied energy work, and one of the factors that I bring to this Ember is just kind of connecting with the patient. I've learned to do that without inserting energy and taking it away. It's very important. The cardinal rule of energy work, if you receive energy work or if you give energy work, is don't donate energy and don't take any away. So I've learned that over the last few years, and I feel good that I have that, a good baseline with that. So I don't know whether this has given you a good idea of what I'm practicing. I think the best way to learn about it is to experience it. So what I recommend is that you book an appointment with me as a chiropractic patient, and you can add on to that as a service the Ember, and we'll do both on the same day. And you can have that on the first day that you receive chiropractic, because I need to clear your system first. Chiropractic is getting rid of the low-hanging fruit in terms of stress. Let's just clear your skeletal system of stress. And I do work with muscles as well, and sometimes balancing muscles, and that gets rid of a little more stress. So I think that it's necessary to do that as a first step. A, it gets rid of stress, and B, it balances the legs. So if you're going to use a leg length analysis, you need to have the legs balanced, and that's how you do it with chiropractic. So I invite you to go online and schedule an appointment. It's www.chirokelley.com. It's CHIROKELLEY.com, and you can just schedule online. Just choose an appointment that's convenient for you. You can also schedule, if you need more information, a free consultation. So I'm available to talk one-on-one. It's a 15-minute consultation if you want to come into the office and talk about your specific issues and whether this would be a good fit for you. I will tell you, if I don't think it's the right fit for you, then I have a very broad, very good network of other practitioners that I can refer you to, and that includes medical doctors, it includes therapists, includes other alternative medicine practitioners, and I will be the first one to say, it's like, no, I don't think this is the right place for you to start, and so I can talk to you about that as well. So it's the number is 843-321-8119. That's my office number. It's www.chirokelley.com, CHIROKELLEY. And I hope that you found this useful, and let me know if you need more information. Thank you. Bye-bye.